That's it. Okay. Here they are, the stars of the show. Cousin Bill, he's Kusu's. All right, Fred, the oldest of Fuji. Frank, next oldest. Henry, the middle. Charlie, the doctor that I know. And John. And this is a picture I saw when I was going through Crossroads Remembered. And I said, you know, like, who are these guys? And then I started reading. I said, oh, my God, that's Charlie. And they're there. They're the haircuts I'm talking about. They look similar on each one of them, don't they? So we know that's probably Fuji's doings there. Like I say, they all have those English first names, but they all have Japanese middle names. Bill, he's the oldest one of them. All these guys got into everything. I mean, you would have thought they, you know, had all kinds of spare time. But Bill became certainly the first Eagle Scout in Eau Gallie. They had, like I said, a lot of times things fell right in place for these guys. There was a preacher that came to St. Paul's, a pastor I think they call him, named Nelson, and he thought every boy should be in the Scouts. And they recruited them. All of them were. All these Ozaki boys were in the Scouts. And Bill took it real seriously. And I'm not sure what he did for his Eagle badge, but a lot of times I saw him, you know, getting merit badges for cooking. So, you know, somebody had to cook out on that farm with all those mouths to feed. So he was certainly the first Eagle Scout in Eau Gallie. Just put this is a modern day picture. There's St. Paul's right there. Right here used to be the old Eau Gallie High School, but they tore it down, built the new one down on Pineapple. Present day school, empty school building now, was the school where they all went. Here's Owie again. He's back to his tricks. He's going to serve the Oleanders was a big, I guess, country club, or I don't think it was a nightclub. It was a hotel. Yeah, it's right there. All right. Well, he's going to put on a big dinner, and everyone in Eau Gallie that's anybody is invited. E.M. Owie, Japanese gardener of, now he's a gardener now, of Eau Gallie, on Wednesday evening. He's going to do all the cooking, right? Oh, he is. And he will furnish chopsticks for all the guests and will insist upon their use. So I can just imagine. Say, Owie will be assisted in preparing and serving the dinner by his wife and children, all right? Now, I can't imagine. Well, you got Louise and you got Florence there, but I bet you anywhere Bill's in that kitchen somewhere. So that was in 1932. It was a big blast. Okay, the Ozaki boys were all, Bill was described as the best athlete of all of them. Eau Gallie's first football team was in 1931, but Bill's on the team here in 32, and look what they say about him. It's Jap center, Ozaki, Jap center played a splendid game. Not only did the running backs play a good game, but Bill, he did a great game too, So he was the center on the team. Like I say, all the other ones participated in all sports. They were all pretty good. Bill, like I said, was excellent at football. John was a very good basketball player and an extraordinary ping pong player, I understand. But John, I was told that he led the Eau Gallie team to the state championship. Well, Eau Gallie's never won a state championship. So I think that it was the championship series, which can be confused over the years with a championship. So he got past districts. Let's put it that way. All right. So now I'm going to start with, you know, what happened to them and where are they now. And this is, as you can see, Henry. So he's the third one down. He's the middle one. So I'm going to start with Fred. Fred took over the pedal route in about 1940. The pedal route, Kusu now stays on the farm. And Fred takes it over. Well, he's only on it for about a year. They had a truck, and he is driving the truck around, and he also gets drafted right about there. World War II is cranking up, and they draft him. And so he ends up going to, where do you go? I think Fort Benning, and you know, they're not sure what to do with him because he's Japanese. And I'm going to have to check my notes with Fred because there's very little about him. No, he joins the Air Force, but I think he was drafted actually. Oh, no, he was drafted, serves in the Army, and then comes out of the Army, joins the Air Force, and is in the Air Force for 20 years, retires from the Air Force, and goes into the postal system in Topeka, Kansas. Frank.
Topeka, Kansas?
That's where he ends up, yeah. I don't know if he's alive or not. No, I know he's dead. He's dead. Frank, he's second oldest. He, again, Frank went to, I even skipped Bill here. Let me go back to Bill because Bill attends, he was the oldest one. He's out of school first, and he goes to California to a mechanics school. About this time, the Ozakis and the Omays, remember I mentioned them, they were up in Orange Park. They now had gone with Mr. Owie again. They bought land in Woodbine, Georgia. They had expanded now, and they're doing good out there on those farms. Don't think that they weren't. And they start investing in farmland in Woodbine, Georgia, which is right above Jacksonville, just over the Georgia border. Well, Bill goes to California, and he goes to a mechanics school there, graduates from that, goes to Woodbine to watch over his dad, remember Kusu? His land up there, and then he joins the Army from there, goes to the China-Burma theater during World War II, doesn't see any action, and comes back to Woodbine, and that's where he died. All right, that was Bill, the oldest one. I just went over Fred. Frank went to an accounting school in Jacksonville. He left the farm, went to an accounting school. Each one of these now, as I say, they were on the route. They were doing the pedal route all until they left here. It was the only way out. And so he went to accounting school in Jacksonville, went up to Woodbine to watch Fuji's side of that investment up there, enlisted in the Army, served 2 terms after World War II, and was in the Okinawa during the occupation after the war. So that was his service. Every one of them goes in, and every one of them uses the GI Bill.
Did they speak Japanese as well as English?
I forgot to say that. No, none of them spoke Japanese at all.
Oh, they didn't have a little Japanese school?
No, the dad spoke nothing but Japanese, and they spoke nothing but English, the boys. And the dad stayed in their Shinto religion, but the boys were all the Methodists. They attended that Methodist church, and they still, the ones that are alive still attend, Christian church. They all were Christians. They never dressed in Japanese clothes. They didn't eat Japanese food. I mean, they ate what they considered cracker food. It was an odd situation out there, but whatever gets by. They just blended right in with everybody. They did all the things everybody else in the town did. They fished, they played sports with them and everything. So now Henry, this guy walked the walk. He was the middle of the 5 boys from Fuji, and he got his bachelor's degree from the University of Florida in soil chemistry, as they all did at Sing, and then joined the Army, and he was assigned to the 442nd Combat Regiment, which was a regiment of Japanese American men that half of them were collected from Hawaii, and half of them were collected mainlanders. They called the Hawaiians Buddha heads, and they called the Japanese mainlanders K-tonks. And they said that, I think they named each other, these 2 competing groups, because they said the mainlanders' head sounded like K-tonk when you hit on it. And so, and they had a lot of regimental competition and stuff like that. So, but they get sent to Italy, and they don't see any action, but they're moving toward where there is some stuff going on. And a regiment from Texas that were all what I would say Caucasians, white guys, had been, their leader sort of got them in a mess. by leading them into some type of horseshoe formation of German soldiers, and they went right into the middle of it. And of course, they closed right behind them and had them surrounded, and were just chewing them up in there. And here comes the 442nd. You know, they got nothing to do. They're marching up the road. Well, they say, they called this Texas regiment the Lost Battalion. And they sent the 442nd up there. All right, and they have to go uphill to try to get these guys that are at the top of the hill, and they're just surrounded by Germans everywhere. Well, the 442nd became the most decorated outfit in the history of the United States Army. All right, modern day, I don't know, Civil War, something like that. I can't imagine that they could have done any better than that. Out of 500 men that went up that hill, now remember, this is to get Texans that if you watch the movie, weren't real kind to them just a couple days ago down the road, you know. To get Texans out of the 500 there was only like 27 of them that came out of there with, you know, unscathed. There was massive, you know, losses as being killed, many, you know, injuries or whatever you want to call it, wounds. Henry gets a bronze medal, and here's the story. It says, his citation read, Henry Ozaki, Private 232nd Engineer Combat Company, for the heroic achievement in combat on October 15, 1944 in France. Private Ozaki was advancing through hazardous territory with a mine-sweeping squad when the enemy suddenly directed heavy machine gun fire on the group. The hostile fire killed the sergeant in charge of the squad. The slightest movement in the area attracted bursts of machine gun fire from the enemy position. However, as soon as Private Ozaki was aware of the plight of the injured comrade, somebody got knocked down out there, he unhesitatingly left his place of comparative safety and crawled to the spot where the man was lying. He assisted in administering first aid treatment, and with two companions carried the injured soldier under fire away from the area. His quick thinking and initiative were responsible for the man's life. So he received the bronze medal with valor. So Henry gets a bronze medal with valor. Of course, this is in the local paper, I believe. So everybody knows about it. Henry, let's see, here's a couple of movies. I watched this movie. It's not a bad movie. It's not Saving Private Ryan, I can tell you that, but it's not bad. It has Van Johnson. Van Johnson stars. It's kind of funny at times. But Henry comes back to the United States and finishes his master's degree at Cornell and his PhD at Cornell in soil chemistry. Comes back to the University of Florida. And wouldn't you know, here's another one of these weird twists in this whole story. The University of Florida assigns him as one of those, like Charlie was at the beginning, one of these field service, agricultural extension agents and stuff like that. And he is sent to land down in Delray Beach that was donated by George Murakami to the University of Florida, and he's in charge of that until he retires about, I'd say 6 years ago. He moved to Atlanta. He has a daughter that's an attorney, a son that's a mechanical engineer, and Henry died this past Christmas. So Charlie's the next one in age, but I'm jumping to John because Charlie, I know a little bit more about Charlie. John was the one that led the Eau Gallie Fighting Commodores basketball team to the state championships. Dated all the local girls. You can see he's a good-looking guy. They called him Sahaki, according to some publications that you have out there, and just all-around good guy. He went to ROTC at the University of Florida. I think I have a book, it's around here somewhere, where he finished in his top third of his class in the ROC training and top 50% in academics at the University of Florida. Got his degree in agriculture and was offered a full regular Army commission, and he took it, and he spent 30 years in the service and became retired as a lieutenant colonel and is in El Paso, Texas, as far as I know. So then we go, this is a Christmas card from Charlie and his wife Nettie Ozaki that they sent us back in, I think, 1964. This is his daughter Lassie is her name. That's a family name from Nettie's side of the family. This is Keith. We'll talk about him in a little bit. Nettie's mother, they're from Lake City, the black family up there. They were very wealthy people, still are. But her mother, Lassie Goodbread, who becomes Lassie Goodbread Black, was the first female that was accepted and entered the University of Florida. So all these people are around the University of Florida. So her mother was a mover and shaker too. And I remember Nettie as being pretty sure of herself, let's put it that way. She died in 1999. And they have one more child after this, Cheryl, who Charlie lives with now. This was a Christmas, you can see. Charlie told me that when they were kids that they would go to the dump and look for Christmas ornaments that people threw out the year before and use them the next year because they'd have a Christmas tree every year. They had a dump that was right near the farms. This is when he graduated from the University of Florida Medical School. This is what they said about him. This sums up his career. Worked for more than 40 years in Lake City as a pediatrician. For his first 13 years in practice, Ozaki was the only pediatrician between Jacksonville and Tallahassee. Ozaki lives in Jacksonville with his daughter Cheryl. That's who he's living with now. But he gets around. He's certainly, he can drive and all that stuff. He's not that old. This is my brother in the middle there. That's Charlie. This was the 50th anniversary of the first graduating class of the medical school at the University of Florida, and Tom and I attended. My dad's dead, so he wasn't there. Tom is just having a grand old time, but I brought this picture because it wasn't the best picture in the world, but I looked here. It says, Betty McRae Pratt greets Sanford Wilson. That's me. So poor old Tom gets no respect. But I did go. There I am. I was there. And there's Charlie. There's Tom again. This was just another one out in the catalog. Set that there just sort of, then you get a sort of a look without my dad there. And this is Keith, Charlie's son that you saw me point out in the Christmas card. Keith graduated from Lake City High. I don't know if he's a valedictorian. I just heard that he was an excellent student. He graduated from Duke School of Medicine. He's now in charge of the peripheral vascular surgery department at Harvard. Here are the graves of the 4 original Ozakis that were there. This is Yoni that died way back 1927 or so. This is Kusu, he died in 1947. He had a stroke. Dr. Creel took care of him. Stopped in on him on, occasion. He was out on the farm, just laying, he couldn't get around. This is Kiku here and Fuji. And all these, if you go up to Eau Gallie, I think Masterson Street or something like that up there, that's where this cemetery is. They're right on the right-hand side as you drive in, about halfway between the front and the back. All right, are there any questions about any of this?
That was great. That was excellent.
Thank you. Glad you liked it.